Thank you very much. Greetings, my name is Bill, and I am the Snarky Apologist. This is the September 15, 2012 issue of the WatchTower, the study edition. Now, this was brought to my attention by my good buddy Phil, otherwise known as Wake Up Witness, and which is not just a good name, but it's a great idea. He brought this to my attention, and I want to point out something here. Let's take a look inside. Now, the article begins at page 23, "You know neither the day nor the hour." And we are going to focus specifically on page 25, and starting at paragraph 11. We're just going to cover paragraphs 11 through 13. Recall Jesus' parables of the virgins and the talents. If the virgins or the slaves in those parables had known when the bridegroom or the master was arriving, they would not have needed to keep on the watch. But they did not know, so they needed to keep ready. Although the anointed had for decades looked to 1914 as a marked year, they did not clearly understand what would happen. When things did not take place as they expected, it could have looked as if the bridegroom was delaying. One brother later recalled, "A few of us had seriously thought we were going to heaven during the first week of that October." Just think how discouraging it could have been to expect the end and for it not to occur. Moreover, the brothers faced opposition related to World War I. A period of relative inactivity like sleep set in. But in 1919, there was a call to wake up. Jesus had come to God's spiritual temple, and a time for inspection arrived. Some, however, failed at inspection and consequently lost their privilege to continue in the king's business. It was as if they were not diligent in replenishing their supply of spiritual oil, like the foolish virgins. And like the sluggish slave, they were unwilling to make personal sacrifices for the sake of the kingdom. The majority of the anointed ones, though, showed unshakable loyalty and a strong desire to serve their master, even during the difficult war years. All right, now just to take a look at this, the heading of that passage, "Anointed ones prove themselves ready," okay? On the right column, it says a period of relative inactivity, like sleep set in. But in 1919, there was a call to wake up. All right, so now here's Jesus comes to God's spiritual temple, and for a time of inspection had arrived. This is where Jesus returned, and the Watchtower says, found them. They were waiting. They were not like the foolish virgins who had run out of oil and they fell asleep, and they were watching, and they were waiting for the master's return, and they were really on top of their game, right? Well, no. No, they weren't. See, that's the problem. But they don't want to say that. They can't say that. But I'm going to prove to you that not only was the WatchTower Society not watching and waiting for the master's return, they didn't have oil in their lamps. They weren't even looking, because they felt and taught that Jesus was present. Now let me roll this out for you. We're going to look at WatchTower documentation to see if the WatchTower documentation aligns itself with the WatchTower documentation you're reading here. Or are they trying to pull a fast one over on you? Which they always do, unless you're a witness that has woken up. Okay, now we're going to take a look in the Proclaimer's book on page 133. And in the highlighted yellow area by the half circle, we see, from Mr. Barber, editor of that publication, Russell also came to be persuaded that Christ's invisible presence had begun in 1874. Now, you'll see that asterisk there. And you can go ahead and read that the highlighted footnoted point. However, about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see where the sentence starts. A clearer understanding of biblical chronology was published in 1943 in the book, The Truth Shall Make You Free. And it was then refined the following year in the book, The Kingdom is at Hand, as well as in later publications. What are they saying here? Well, it's simply this. The first two presidents of the WatchTower Society, Charles Taze Russell and Joseph Rutherford, both went to their respective graves teaching and believing that Jesus returned invisibly in 1874. You see, that was dogmatic teaching, that Jesus returned in 1874. That had been held. That was the official WatchTower teaching all the way down through 1943, where it was first changed to 1914. Now, here's the deal. Was the WatchTower leadership, did they have oil in their lamps? Were they waiting and watching for the bridegroom to return? Were they like the virgins without oil? Well, there was no need to put oil in the lamps. Heck, we didn't even have to be watching and waiting for the bridegroom to return because he was already present. You see, common sense will tell you, you don't go looking for someone when you know where they are. Jesus was present in 1874, and that was official teaching down through 1943, 1 year after Rutherford died. He died in 42. 43, they released the news that Jesus actually returned in 1914 and not 1874. Well, guess what? You weren't looking during 1919. When Jesus supposedly came back for the inspection, that the WatchTower's now touting that, oh, the sluggards and the drunks, no one was watching. Oh, we were watching and waiting. We weren't asleep. You weren't even watching because there was no need to watch. 1943 was the first inklings you had that Jesus, that he had returned in 1914. You weren't looking in 1919, my friends. You missed the appointment. You're a phony, false prophet. I don't know how else to spell it out for you. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, man, let me tell you, here's what you got to do, okay, right now. Sit down, write this down. This is going to be very critical for your spiritual health. Ready? Get this book. That's all I can tell you is get this book. It's a great book. Don Cameron, the author, Captives of a Concept, Understanding the Illusionary Concept that Holds Jehovah's Witnesses Captive. You've got to get this book. It explains so much and in wonderful detail. And I'll tell you, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you read this, you will be shocked. You will be appalled at what your organization has done in the past and what they are doing to you now. You think they're using theocratic warfare? You're justified lying on other people? Guess what, my friends? They're doing it to you.